What's up, folks? Welcome back to Tactical Tortoise. My name is Trevi, and today we're going to be doing another new player tutorial. We're going to talk about how to get started signing up and putting all your information into tournaments or any other kind of event with a focus on the Best Coast Pairings app. For those who don't know, Best Coast Pairings, also known as BCP, is, as far as I know, the largest tournament organizing software used by the Warhammer 40k community and a bunch of other miniature games. And while it is pretty idiosyncratic, which is why I'm going to be doing a video on it today, most of the time, if you want to sign up for a Warhammer 40k event or an event for any other similar wargame, you'll probably be doing it through Best Coast Pairings. So today, we're going to be talking about how to find events in the Best Coast Pairings app, how to register them either through the app or externally, how to set up your account with Best Coast Pairings, upload your list and other important information for the events that you've registered for, submitting your scores for an event, and some other handy ways to use the BCP app to improve your 40k game. Let's do it! Now, one of the reasons that I'm making this video right now is that we're starting another iteration of the T5S2 Youngbloods events. These are new player-friendly events on Tabletop Simulator that I run through the Tactical Tortoise Discord. There's a link down below in the description if you want to join the Discord. We play and talk Warhammer 40k and other miniature war games literally constantly. This next event starts on May 29th, a Saturday, and plays for 3 weeks. You play one game each week. We try to make these events pretty laid back and very new player friendly. So while it's run like a tournament, you're paired with other players that are around the same standing as you. And for example, it's very casual. Your wins don't matter. The only prizes that we're going to be giving out for the event are door prizes that will be given out at the end for people who have completed all of their games. And you don't even have to submit a list. You can play whatever you want at the table. We just want people to show up, play some games, get some practice in, play with some new units and new lists. So if you have been trepidatious in the past about jumping into competitive play, this is a good jumping off point and will get you used to playing in that style of environment. If you don't know how to sign up, you can just watch this video. Now, I think it's important to note that I am using an emulator for this video, so I'm using this on a desktop. Most people are going to be using this on their phone, on a mobile device, either a phone or a tablet, which is where BCP works. Unfortunately, there isn't a functional browser version of the app. You basically can only register for events in the browser. Actually, submitting scores for events only works in the app. So speaking of which, there are two ways to sign up for events in Best Coast Pairings. The first way is out in the wild, as it were, not inside the BCP app, where people will give you a link to a Best Coast Pairings event page that you can sign up for the event on. The other way is to do it entirely through the BCP app, where you can browse events and find events to sign up for independently. Now, regardless of where we're signing up, we're going to need a BCP account, and we're going to need the app in order to use it. So you can find the app on most mobile Play stores, either the Google Play Store or the iTunes Store. I know there's versions of the app on both. But if you want to use BCP effectively, you will have to do it on a mobile device. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work on browsers too well. But basically, you can find it under the name BCP Player App. The app is free itself. There are in-app purchases. You can buy a subscription to the app, which will unlock some additional features that we'll talk about later. But in order to use the core functionality, which is to sign up for events and to submit your scores and stuff like that, you don't need to pay any money. It's totally free. Now, once we're in the app, you'll just need to register an account. This is pretty simple stuff. You just put your first and last name in. Now, that will be publicly available because that will be shown on event standings and things like that. So as you register for an event, that's the name that's going to show up. So if you don't want your real name to show up, you can just put in some gobbledygook in here. Also, register with an email. This is the email address that you're going to use to register for events externally as well as a password. Okay, so like I mentioned, there are two ways to sign up for events on Best Coast Pairings. The first one is if you find the event out in the wild. Now, this will often happen if a local event or a local store is running a tournament and gives you a link to sign up for the tournament at. So, for example, the T5S2 Youngbloods event that I just talked about, they'll put a link for this event down in the description. You can click on that link and you'll be brought to this landing page. This has all of the event information. I've put all of the rules in this area. Oftentimes, TOs will use this to refer to another document for their rules, and there is a spot for an event link as well. So in this case, this actually just links to the page in the Tactical Tortoise Discord where the event's being organized, but you can go down here and there is a registration button right here. Now this brings you to basically the page that we just saw before. You're going to independently enter your information, first name, last name. That's what's going to appear on the event standings. You can put in a club or team name as well. The app preferentially separates people that are in the same team, so it will try not to pair them in round one. But then also you're going to put in your BCP account email. It's important that you put in exactly the same email that you registered for the account in the app with. So I'll just put in my information here. Accept this little terms of service thingy. And then because this app has a registration fee, you just put in credit card information in order to pay that. Credit card or debit card information. Unfortunately, it doesn't accept any other form of payment. It's just those right now. This step is only for events that require paid registration in the app. Some events have paid registration externally. Either you'll pay once you get there, or they'll require a PayPal payment beforehand or something like that. So now if you've completed that registration correctly, you can see that if you go to the My Events tab in your Best Coast Pairings app, and you click on upcoming events, you'll be able to see that the event shows up right there, assuming that you've used the same email for your BCP account and to register for the event. Now, that's only one way to sign up for events. The other way is to find them organically through BCP. So let's talk about how to search events using the BCP app. So if you go over to this event search tab, you can browse basically every event that's being hosted publicly. So you can search events, you can search game systems. You can see that a bunch of different game systems are being hosted on the app. Let's look for Warhammer 40k. You can search for a particular name if you want, a particular date. Let's just see what's going on this weekend. And on a mobile device, you can search within a particular radius of your location. So if you're looking for local events or events that you can drive to, this is the perfect way to do it. So now click submit there, and we can see that there are a bunch of events. Now, a lot of these are either long-term events or ones that got the TO maybe messed up the dates on a little bit. We can see some of them are leagues that are ongoing. So this shouldn't be a problem if you geolocate yourself. Right now, we're just looking globally. So from this list, we can pick an event that we want to sign up to, and you can find all of the same information that you would find on the normal event page in this listing, and you can purchase a ticket through the link down here, which actually brings you basically to the same landing page that you would have found being linked to separately. So it'll open up a browser window that you'll complete your registration in by filling out the form just like we talked about. So we have to put our information into the form just like we did on the previous tournament, and you'll be brought to this page. Now this page gives you a ticket confirmation number and a prompt to upload your list. Now this isn't required. You can actually upload your list elsewhere. And to be perfectly honest, this page is a little bit buggy. Sometimes it actually doesn't input the list all the way through. So I would actually hold off here. I wouldn't upload a list on the browser page. I would do it through the app. So that's how to find events and register for them on the BCP app. Now, let's talk about how to upload your details. So you can see once you register for an event, as we talked about before, you can find them either in your current events link, depending on how close it is to the event. I think they show up here within 24 hours of the event start date, or in the upcoming events tab. And in the event page, you can click on this player details tab right here, which will give you access to a bunch of your important information. Your self-score pin is an identification number that players are required to have to upload your scores to the event standings. So that means that basically your opponent needs your consent in order to input a score. They can't just put in whatever they want. Not all events require this, but the ones that do, it's important to know what your pin is, obviously. So you can put any set of numbers in here. It could just be the number 1, or it could be very complicated, whatever you're most comfortable with. You can also change your faction in here. You can see almost every faction's represented. This is important, especially if your event's being submitted to ITC for season faction rankings. People get upset if you put in the wrong faction here. There's no real policing of it, but some people think it's funny to put in random factions. Don't do that. Don't be a dick. I'm probably playing Tyranids, let's be honest. So let's go find ourselves some Tyranids. Boom. And you can add your army list here. So there's a couple ways to do it. You can upload it as an image or as a text. Most events require that you upload it in a text format, and specifically BattleScribe text output. I highly recommend you do this even if the event doesn't require it, because it's the format that most people are used to, and it's the easiest to parse. Some people will print a list and then take a picture of it. Don't do that. If you do that, you're kind of a douche. Just take the BattleScribe output and copy it directly into this field right here. Now, I did an entire video on how to build your list in Battlescribe, so if you want a reference on how to do that, you can go check that video out. But essentially, once you're done with your list, you're just going to go over to the share options. There is a tab for this on the mobile version as well, but it's up here on the desktop version. And the easiest way to grab it is just with this chat text option. Once you grab that, it automatically copies it to your clipboard, and then you're going to be able to move over to that field and paste that in. It shows up kind of funky. It shows up all in one line. Don't worry about that. It's okay. It's going to format itself out once you click submit, and then from there you can just go ahead and submit. Now, it goes through a list inspection process, and in this, the app actually interfaces with Battlescribe and makes sure that the format of your list is correct. Now, it doesn't actually check whether all of the options you've selected are legal, so it's important to go through and remember to dot all your I's and cross all your T's. Remember to add all of your upgrades, pick your warlord, add your detachment CP and all that stuff, as we've talked about in the Battlescribe video. But what this will do is make sure that all of your points add up correctly and all of your detachments are legal. Once that list inspection process is complete, you'll actually get a notification, we can see up in the top here, that the list is valid. It'll either tell you that you're valid or invalid. So now we've put in a self-score pin. We'll just put in 1, I guess. We'll go ahead and save our player edits, and we are ready to play in this event. Now, before you get started in the event, there's one last step, and that's this check-in here. Within 24 hours of the start of the event, you can check into the event, and that means that you'll show up in pairings once the TO starts the event. This is basically saying that, you know, you're here and you're ready to go. It's important you remember to do this. Sometimes TOs will take care of it for you, especially in online events, or if you're in person and they know they know you're present or something like that. But in a larger event, especially like a convention-sized event with hundreds of people, you want to be checking in manually just to make sure that you don't get lost in the shuffle. So we'll go ahead and check in here, and it allows you to double-check all of your information. So your name and club and pin and all that, and you go ahead and check in. That box disappears, and we are ready to go. Now, if you're checked in, you're at the event, you're ready to go, as soon as the tournament organizer creates your first round pairings, you'll see that you'll get a little notification that says your round 1 pairings are up. You can go to the event page and click on the pairings tab right in the middle here, and that will show you all of the pairings for the event. It will show you the table number in the center, and that's what you're going to use to go find your opponent. And if there's a bunch of people in the event and you need to find yourself out of the crowd, you can actually search for your name using the search function at the top here, and you'll find the table that you're supposed to be at. If you're in an in-person event or an event with time limits, you'll see that there is also a timer at the top here, which tells you how much time is left in the round, and that's how much time you have to complete your game. Now, clicking on the pairing gives you a couple options. You can look at the lists that have been submitted, so you can view your opponent's list there, and you can also view or submit results. So this section is going to look a little different depending on the settings that the tournament organizer has used for the event. A lot of the time, you're just going to play out your game and you're going to submit a final score, and that will just determine who wins or loses the event. Some events also require that you use a turn-by-turn score sheet, and so you actually use the event as your score sheet for the GT 2020 scoring system. And that makes it a little bit more convenient, you know, for you and your opponent, because you can actively see what the score is. And also it helps BCP for their data collection, because they do a lot of statistical analysis of the Warhammer 40k meta based on the results that they get. You can see we can select our mission here. You can select command points, who gets first or second, your primary objective scores every round, as well as your secondary objectives. And once that's all full in, you can just go ahead and submit the scorecard. Now, if pins are required for the event, this is the stage that'll come up and ask you for both you and your opponent's pins, just to make sure that both of you agree on the score. But once that's been submitted, you can see that the scores get represented up at the top here, and the result becomes green. Once that happens, you're good to go, and you are ready to hold off until the next round. And the same thing's going to happen. A notification is going to come up as soon as those next round pairings go up. You're going to visit the app, take a look at your opponent, meet up with them on your table, play through the game, input the scores, and do that until the end of the event. So in a nutshell, that's basically everything you need to know to use the BCP app to find events, register for events, and use them to submit your scores during an event. That said, there's a couple other things you can use the BCP app for. Best Coast Pairings is the biggest aggregator of Warhammer tournament data, as far as I know, in the entire world. And not only Warhammer, but a lot of other miniature war games that use it for their tournament organization. And that means that there is a lot of information available at your fingertips in this app. So what you can do is you can actually, you can search through events. If you want to see results from recent events, you can actually look through recent events like we just did when we were searching for an event to join, but you can go back into the past and take a look at them. So for example, if we want to see the events from 2 weekends ago, we can set that as our date, set Warhammer 40k. Let's see if any GTs happen that weekend. We can take a look at the Red River GT. We can look at the placements, and you can see all of the factions represented, the player's record, their score, and you can even go and take a look through their pairings. So you can kind of follow along your favorite players. If you want to see how Brad Chester's doing, you can see that he took a loss in round 4 to Justin Curtis's Death Guard. So if you want to follow along live with events that are going on, you can do that. You can also take a look at individual lists. Now, this is one of the things that you do need a BCP subscription for. Any events that have ended, you can no longer look at their lists without a subscription. So if you want access to the wealth of data that is available in BCP, you will have to pony up $5 a month. I think it's well worth it, especially if you're getting into 40k and you really want to see, you know, what's winning and what's doing well, and you want to find lists that are doing well in your faction. I think paying a couple bucks a month just to be able to take a look at the absolute, you know, breadth of results that you can find. If you're looking for ideas to jump off from on how to build an army, looking through all of the competitive results on Best Coast Pairings is one of the best ways to do that. So we can actually sort by faction here. I like me some Tyranids, so we're going to look through Tyranid factions, and let's go, I don't know, through the month, I guess. Go ahead and apply, and we can see everyone who has played Tyranids in an event on BCP in the last month and how they did or how they're doing. So a couple people looks like have games still ongoing. But if we look at some RTTs down here, you can see Matt Neely took a win 3-0 with a Behemoth Tyranid list. Very exciting. And you can do that for any faction in Warhammer 40k, so you can find an immense breadth of data. Now, you can also use BCP to get discount coupons, both to get discounts on event tickets, but also for frontline gaming orders. You can do that at this redeem points section down here. It tells you at the bottom here how many points you have. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know how you generate points. I think it's event participation. So the more events you have, the more points you'll, loyalty points essentially that you'll aggregate. But you can use them to buy ticket discounts. So if there's an event that uses BCP registration, you can get a 10% discount or a 5% discount on those tickets. You can also use them for 10 or 5% off a frontline gaming order. So if you order through them, I guess either their gaming mats or just buying regular Games Workshop product from them, you can get a discount there as well, which is real nice. So anyway, that's all I have to say about registering for tournaments, finding tournaments on BCP, dropping in your player information, and submitting your scores, as well as some other uses of the BCP app. Thanks for watching the video. I hope this helped anyone who is looking to get into a tournament, especially on Best Coast Pairings, where there's a little bit of tribal knowledge that not everybody is privy to, and I hope this video helps elucidate things a little bit for people. If you are looking to jump into the tournament scene, like I said at the top of the video, highly recommend our Youngbloods event that's going to be starting in just about a week or so. That should be a good time, and it should be a laid-back atmosphere, so even if you just want to get some games of 40k and you're not necessarily new, but you just want to play some weird stuff and just have some fun, this will be a good place to do it. Thanks for watching, everybody. A big thanks to my patrons over at patreon.com/TacticalTortoise. Also, YouTube channel members, Twitch subscribers, all those people help support the channel, and I really appreciate them. Remember to keep it classy, folks, and have happy wargaming.